Hi folks, Mark here, Views from Mark, and in today's video, as you may have guessed from the items that I've got displayed on the table around me, we're going to be looking at the Omega Spectre Limited Edition watch that was released in 2015. Now, having owned this for 6.5 years at the time of recording, I get asked if I'll ever be doing a follow-up video to my very first YouTube video, which was an unboxing of this very watch. So I thought now's as good a time as any to do one, and it might be quite cool to have a discussion with someone who also owns the same watch. I thought, who could I ask to take part in this video? And I think I've come up with someone pretty special. Let's take a look. So folks, as you can see, I'm joined today by the man, the myth, the legend that is David Zaritsky of the Bond Experience. Welcome, David.
Thank you for having me. And now I cannot live up to that intro at all. You do know that, right?
You can. I mean, you already have. Anyone who doesn't follow you, and to be frank, if they're not already, go and check out David's channel. I'll put a link in the description below. But you know, your body of work speaks for itself, speaks volumes. You've just passed, in the past couple of months, your 700th video on YouTube, your 700th upload. How many videos was it you uploaded last year in 2021?
So last year, I think it was something like 105 videos. No, maybe more. I want to say like maybe even 140. There were some weeks, so minimum I was doing 2 a week, and then there were some weeks I would actually do 3 a week.
Wow. I mean, do you literally, I've got a cup of coffee next to me, but do you have it like hooked to your veins? I mean, how do you find the energy and the time to kind of juggle all these things as well as work and put together such great content?
I get a lot of that question because I'm, president of a large agency conglomerate, and they're like, so do you actually show up to work and actually work very long hours at work with a great team of people? What I do is all right, I'll give you a perfect example. We're recording this. Okay. And I got up at 2 a.m. this morning.
Not for this.
I don't always get up at 2 a.m. I don't always get up at 2 a.m. This is unusual, I will say that. But most days I'll get up at 3:30, 4 a.m. And yeah, I don't sleep that much. I find sleep pretty boring. So what I do is I have, like my wife was saying yesterday, I think yesterday I got up at 1:30 in the morning. And when she said to me, like, you've had an entire day. Like literally when people are waking up, you have an entire day. And so my day before, sometimes I'll do a little work, but mostly it's Bond. It's, planning out videos and talking to people overseas and doing things like this. It's what gives me joy.
Yeah, well, I mean, it gives, the wider Bond community joy, as you know, and on behalf of myself, as well as the wider Bond community, thank you for everything you've done, especially this past couple of years, with the delays that we had because of COVID, seeing No Time to Die, to keep up that level of momentum is so inspiring and so much appreciated by, myself and the fans. So thank you for that.
Thank you. That's so nice of you to say. And I'll tell you what I've loved. I've loved the, I'll call it the side effect. So, and not the side effect of me, but the side effect of COVID has been people locked down. And I think it's actually, the silver lining is it sparked people's natural creativity. And I said this to you before, so I'm not saying this just for the video. I've become a huge fan of yours. And one of the things that I love that you do is, first of all, your production is very good. You're very articulate. You're very meticulous and detailed. The biggest thing is you actually have authentic joy and enthusiasm in everything that you talk about. Like when you open a box, I see the look on your face, and then you're wearing the item like you did the Dr. No polo. I see the joy, and it comes through this stupid little glass that we have here. And I think people are craving happiness, and not to sound kumbaya, but I mean, we're living in a pandemic and we're craving those positive moments. So I want to thank you for helping to create those as well.
Well, thank you very much. You're very kind. So obviously there's a reason, other than just having a great chat, there is a reason.
I thought we were just going to like smooch each other's butt. I didn't know.
We can do, big pats on the back and all that, I'm all for that. But if we were to say, hypothetically, open this discussion up a little bit more, should we start off by doing a wrist check and see what are you wearing today on your wrist?
Well, I'll I'll get to my wrist. Let me tell
Okay.
you what I've done for you today. I
Okay.
put on my matchless Spectre jacket. I put on my incredibly deep V. I forgot how deep this V was. Tom Ford Spectre polo, because as you get to my wrist, you
Wow.
have the Spectre watch
The
in it, all its
300.
beauty. Yeah, the
Nice.
300.
Absolutely.
And
And
I'll quid pro quo you. What are you wearing on your wrist?
so I'm wearing on my wrist, I thought because today's video, we were going to be talking about the watch that you're wearing, the Spectre 300 limited edition. I thought I would have that on display in the box, as you can see here, which is a beautiful box, as we know. But I'm wearing the No Time to Die special edition today, which I picked up from the Omega boutique in London on Regent Street the weekend before we went into the first lockdown, so March 2020.
Oh my
And it
gosh.
was like my last purchase. Rather than food, it was, or toilet paper, which was selling out, it was a watch. So yeah, I'm wearing
Come
that
on,
today.
Mark. You made the right choice. And
I did.
you mean this watch?
That very watch, yes. And how fortunate are we? You see, to have both is amazing. But whilst this isn't a limited edition, and this is, I won't cover off this watch too much because obviously we're here for the
Right.
Spectre, but to have this special edition, to have the screen accurate version of the bracelet, because as we know, there was some modifications shortly after it went on sale. So I believe you've also got the screen accurate version.
I do. This is it right here. I haven't replaced it with the other one. And it's not even that it's screen accurate. It's just, this is the one that this watch was born with. You know,
Exactly.
I'm trying to be complete with it. So here it is. So far, so good.
Well, as we said, we are here to discuss the Spectre watch. And just to give people a quick reminder of how we were introduced to that in Spectre itself, let's take a look.
Anything? It tells the time.
So hopefully that worked and you were able to see that.
I did. It's
Excellent,
very
great.
fancy.
Obviously, there was more to that scene, but I couldn't find it. So we've got that clip. And that's kind of one of those iconic things. Obviously, Q then follows up with Bond by saying it's got rather a loud alarm. Now, unfortunately, or perhaps fortunately, this one that we've got doesn't have an alarm like that we see in the film. But yeah, both of our first Amigas, I was rewatching one of your videos, I think, as we said before starting recording. One of your first Amigas, I believe, was the Seamaster 300 Professional that was in Tomorrow Never Dies. Was that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, excellent. Well, I've got, well, it's not the Tomorrow Never Dies version, but again, that was my first Amiga. I think we kind of share kind of kindred spirits when it comes to watches, in that that was our first purchases, was the Seamaster 300. And what I wanted to ask you, I get asked quite a bit, whether it's in comments on my videos or on Instagram and what have you, whether I'd be doing this kind of update review of the Spectre watch, having owned it now for 6.5 years, I think it is, since Spectre. So I thought I could do a video like that and it would be over in about 1.5 minutes. But a discussion would be much more engaging and a bit more entertaining. And obviously, you're the first person I thought of, because A, I knew you had one of these fantastic watches, and B, you know, the history of content that you've put out. So I wanted to ask you kind of, what was the first thing that appealed to you about this watch? What made it stand out, and how have you found it?
Yeah, that's all good questions. And I mean, like you, I love talking about the story or the journey of these pieces, because they could be pieces of metal and cloth and rubber. This particular one has a lot of sentimental value, which I'll get into in a second. But I think initially when I started to hear about the watch and see the watch, and I remember there was even like sneak paparazzi pictures, everybody's trying to identify it. And then finally, when Omega came out with their commercials, and I was so excited because there was a lot of hoopla, if you remember, around the fact that this was going to be a gadget. Like, it wasn't just going to be a watch, but finally, you know, ever since Brosnan, you really haven't had Daniel Craig have a gadget. But this was going to harken back to our favorite Roger Moore times, you know, Sean Connery, all those things where gadget watches were so appealing, which was a part of my childhood. The impetus behind it is a little bit of story to itself. So my wife and I were traveling on the way to the premiere of Skyfall in London. And this was 2015, this was October.
Spectre, or did you have a time machine and go back to get it before Skyfall?
Did I say Skyfall?
You said Skyfall. So
That's because I've been up since 2 a.m.
that's
There's no
completely
excuse for
fine.
that.
That's
So
completely
yes,
fine.
it was Spectre. Keep me honest. Keep me honest, and don't edit that out. Um,
Okay.
so it was Spectre, and what we did was, and what we typically do is, if we're going to be going to Europe for a Bond thing, we try to go to other places, like
Yeah.
human places, not just James Bond. So we actually went to Belgium and the Netherlands. We
Very
went to, and I
nice.
wrote this down. We went to Bruges, Antwerp, Brussels, Ghent, and Amsterdam. And on the way from Amsterdam to London to see the premiere, in the Amsterdam, I was the Schiphol airport in Amsterdam. We go into the Omega shop, and they have all the ads everywhere. And I said, do you have the watch? And they said, well, we have two of them. One of them is sold. I'm like, that means one's for sale. And because of the duty-free aspect of us being from the States, it was a steal. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, between you and me, like a significant amount off. And I don't make purchases like this. I don't care how wealthy or not wealthy you are. If you have a partner, Danielle, in my case, you got to talk about these things. Pretty obvious if I'm wearing a new watch and I didn't tell her.
Yeah.
And she was incredibly supportive and motivating. She's like, listen, we're heading to the premiere. You'll never have a better opportunity. And I bought the watch, took it out of the box, packed the box into my luggage, put it on my wrist, and flew to London for the premiere. So I'll send you a picture if you want to edit it in here, but there's a picture of me landing in Heathrow. And I have this Cheshire shit-eating grin on my face, holding the watch in front of a giant floor-to-ceiling poster of Daniel Craig holding the watch on his wrist. And that
Wow.
was my entry into London for the premiere of Spectre.
Well, I mean, let's be honest, there's probably no better way to enter London than what you've just described. And what an amazing and supportive wife you've got in Danielle for, you know, um, encouraging you in that moment to say, well, look, this is a once in a lifetime chance. And probably after you'd actually picked it up, I mean, I know they sold out so fast, didn't they?
So fast. Yeah.
I mean, amazing. That's incredible. And then you had it on your wrist for the premiere, which, is just the perfect ending, isn't it, really, for that story?
It was a lot of fun. And what was great about that premiere was I was with so many friends, much like this last one, and they had not seen the watch in person. It's still kind of a rarity. Like a lot of people didn't have it at that point. And so they could try it on, they could see it, et cetera. And that was fun too, just kind of sharing the moments with them.
Yeah. So in terms of like the inspiration or the draw to make that investment, obviously this was the first watch that Omega had done since they came into the franchise, where a watch had been custom made for a Bond film. It wasn't an off-the-shelf version, it was something custom made. Daniel Craig apparently had great input into the design of the watch, as we've heard. How much of that was kind of an inspiration or an influence on you in your decision-making process? Because as you've said, these are emotional purchases that we make when it's something so big, let's say.
Yeah, this is almost like a discussion in behavioral science, because I think it's cumulative, these emotions that you feel about, let's face it, an object, but they become a bit intrinsic. So first, the fact that it was for the new Bond film, that's a big one. And then all the other things, all the other trappings like you're talking about, designed with Daniel Craig's input, the first one that's specific to the movie, as opposed to the other two that I had, which obviously Tomorrow Never Dies and Casino Royale. I don't want to say that they were off the shelf, but they were made by Bond through the use of the movie. They weren't made for Bond in the new movie. So all of that is just infiltrating your head. So I think deep down, even though it was a bit of a spur of the moment thing, getting the watch and getting that story, I think I always knew, like, at some point I was going to want to acquire it.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, for me personally, when people excuse me, when people are asking me about the watch, or why did you go for a Bond watch, or I wouldn't wear something that's got 007 on it, I have to stop them and say, well, no, these watches, I think the Spectre and the No Time to Die versions, they're two of the Bond watches that have come out in the past 10, 15 years where there hasn't been an overt Bond presence like on the watch face or the crest of arms or the 007 on the counterbalance of the seconds hand. When you look at the watch on your wrist, there's nothing to indicate it's a Bond watch other than you know it's a Bond watch. It's all on the back.
That's a huge point for me, and I think it is for you. I've seen obviously all your videos. It's not so much the inside, the outside has to be screen accurate, but what you see through your own perception has to capture that point in the movie. And I think it's why we tend to bristle with things like the Barton Pereira sunglasses that decided very subtly to put on the 007, but even that 007 is public. And
Yes.
we love an invisible hobby where people aren't like, it says 007 on it. You know, we don't want that to ever happen. We want to capture that quick little moment in our lives.
Yeah, absolutely. And this kind of brings me on to when we talk about invisible Bond moments. Have you had people noticing the watch, or maybe non-Bond fans that have like picked up on it and thought, that's really nice, what is that, and inquired about it with you? Because I certainly have. I can say in my old employment in the office environment, I would go and make a cup of tea in the little kitchenette area that we had, and whilst you're waiting, obviously people can see it on your wrist because it is quite chunky watch. There's some real estate, I think is a term that you've coined before. There's some real estate to that watch. So do people pick up on it when you're wearing it and ask questions?
They do, and I get 3 different versions. So I mean, your viewers, I'll take the shine off of that for a second. Your viewers can see it's a very clean watch. So
Yes.
I've gotten a lot of compliments for people that may not know me as well as, for example, me, that I'm a huge Bond fan. So they'll look at it and just say, wow, it's just classic. It's real traditional, harkens back. I do get a couple questions before they see the Omega. I always had a Rolex because it looks a little bit like some of the other ones. But for people that know me, if I wear this immediately, or any watch, quite frankly, that I wear, they go, oh, what Bond film is that from?
Right.
That's the first question that they'll ask.
Right.
But the other thing that I tend to get, even from Bond fans, is they love the NATO strap.
Yes.
It's so different. And by the way, I've had this, oh my gosh, I've had this for 7 years now. A little less than that, but I've never put it on the steel band.
I was going to say, if I open up the back of my case here, I've still got my steel band, and it's still got the plastic protector on it. I think I got them to put it on once for like a week, and I maybe wore it once, but for me, it's all about the NATO. Absolutely.
The NATO, right? And the
Yeah.
other thing is too, I guess I could, I mean, if I was like Lorenzo from Omega Bond Watches, I'd be changing them out and stuff like that. But I don't typically change my straps too much. I'll change my watches. But if I consciously say to myself, I'm going to wear the Spectre watch, I want to wear the Spectre watch. I don't
Yeah.
think this is the Spectre watch. I think this
The whole thing.
is the
Yeah.
Spectre watch. Do you feel the same way?
I do. No, I do totally agree. And I think that's why I've never really, other than maybe once, I've not really worn it with the metal bracelet at all. I tried it on with the metal bracelet, obviously, and the store adjusted it to my size. But that's the thing I like about not having to, you can interchange your watches with the NATO strap a lot easier in terms of sizing, because you don't have to get links removed, you don't have to get it taken in by a jeweler or anything like this. But this kind of leads me on to another question I had for you, because I have many. I could sit here all day. But in one of your previous videos, obviously, you mentioned having got the Rolex 5513, the Live and Let Die Rolex, which had kind of been adopted, given a fresh wrist by Danielle. So my question was going to
Wow.
be, does Danielle wear the Spectre watch as well, given that, as I say, the NATO strap, it doesn't need adjusting? Is that something that she does as well? Because
That's a good question. I mean, she certainly could, but honestly, she does love her Rolex, and
Right.
it's more hers now than mine. So
Okay.
she tends to go for that. It's fitted for her. I'll tell you what she's worn, not the Spectre one, but she's actually worn, and we adjusted the bracelet at one time for her, the Tomorrow Never Dies, because during the summer, she wanted a blue face as opposed to the black face 5513.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So, but that's the only, I mean, she hasn't worn any of the other Omegas.
No, fair enough, fair enough. But that's really interesting as well, what you say about watches with, in the summer wearing the blue. Do you find that the Omega, the Spectre watch, what kind of occasions will you wear it, and how often do you tend to wear it? For myself personally, I alternate between German 3 German 3 watches. I alternate between obviously the Spectre, the original Seamaster Professional that I got kind of as like a celebration piece when I started my new job at the time, and then the No Time to Die. I kind of switch between the three. Some I'll wear more than others, but that tends to be my rotation.
Yeah. So, typically, if I'm going to be going out at night and I'm wearing something dark, either midnight blue or uh, actually a lot of like the NPO, like Goldfinger V-neck with the polo underneath,
Yes, yeah,
puppy tooth pants, black shoes, which I've worn to a lot of events. I will almost always wear this watch. I just think it goes perfectly. Anything with the grays, the black. So I actually match this watch to the colors of the band more than they do like thinking, oh, I'm going to be wearing something that has a Spectre piece of clothing in it. Like if I'm
right.
wearing that matchless jacket, I would be wearing any of my watches. I wouldn't even think like, oh, I got to put on the Spectre watch because it's the Spectre jacket and the Spectre watch, and I got to make a match. I don't do that. I actually match it to like kind of the look, the feel, and the colors. And even though the NATO band has a bit of a sportiness to it, a little bit of
Yeah,
military look, I find that you can actually wear it with a pretty dressy outfit.
yes.
And maybe Connery started that with the tuxedo aspect. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I found it such a kind of a go anywhere watch in terms of go anywhere, go any outfit watch. I can wear it with a suit, as I have done to posh dinner or lunch, or I can wear it with just my old raggedy hoodie that I wear if I'm just lounging around the house. And
Yes.
either way, it's still a really comfortable watch and works well, I think, in so many different looks and environments. And
Can
I think
I
that's
can I ask you a question?
go for it. Please do. Please do.
So, because I'm curious, so before you got your No Time to Die watch, because I know what happens when you get a new watch, you tend to wear that to death because it's a new watch, it's special.
Yeah.
But before you got this, did you typically put on your Spectre watch in the morning?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I would generally. Yeah. My routine is I get up, get washed, get dressed, make a coffee. Wrist is then adorned with whichever watch I'm picking for that day. Yeah. Every day I'll put it on in the morning. Yeah.
All right, I have a
Sometimes
follow-up
not in that
question.
order, but yeah. Go
I have a
on.
follow-up question. I swear I'm not changing this
No. No.
interview
No.
around.
No. Please do.
But so will you wear a watch, any of the watches that you have, even if you're not going out for the day?
Yes. Yeah. No,
I
I, I,
love
I,
that.
I would say during lockdown, and what we're coming up to, we're coming up to 2 years now through this whole mess. Um, I, I can probably count on one or two hands the number of days where I've not worn a watch. I feel it completes me. Like it completes you because it sets you up for the day. Yeah, it completes me. Like Dr. Evil. Yeah, you complete me. Um,
This
I,
thing's
I
going
feel
off the rails in the most beautiful
it,
way.
it is, but it's great. It's these spontaneous moments. It kind of sets you up for the day. And if I
Mm.
was to decide to go out somewhere, or if I was going to meet a friend for a coffee, socially distanced through 3 inches of plexiglass or something like Hannibal Lecter, then I'd still wear a watch. And yeah, every day. I think it completes the gentleman, David.
Yeah, and I think you probably find it the same way I do. If I'm doing like nowadays, agencies like mine, they do pitches over Zoom and
Yeah,
Microsoft Teams, et cetera. If I'm speaking to a prospect or a client, especially, or if I have a really important meeting to the board or the CEO of the company, et cetera, not only will I get obviously, buttoned up here, I always have to put a watch on, even if my wrist never goes above into frame.
yeah,
I just psychologically, I need to be like, hey, you need to be at the top of your game. You need to be like, 100%. So why would you be 90% and leave your watch off for the day?
Exactly. No, I completely agree. As a kind of a side story to that is, in my previous role, employment, my best friend actually worked at the same company, and we had a new head of department coming in to the whole UK company, and my best friend just had his first meeting with him, his first presentation, and he kind of sent me a text. He says, "Would you mind if I wore your Spectre watch to this pitch?" To this first meeting. I said, absolutely. Just don't dent it, but yes, absolutely, because it does give you that kind of confidence as well. I think having a nice watch on your
You
wrist.
are so generous and so trusting.
Yeah, I trust him. I trust him implicitly. Yeah, there's no one else I would do that for necessarily,
Yeah.
but yeah, they do kind of add that confidence to you for stuff like that. I think.
I love how you've displayed your table, by the way. with all the
Well,
accoutrements.
it's a bit too, until I can get my studio set up a bit, I say studio, my conservatory set up a bit better. The wall's a bit blank, and I thought, well, there was such great marketing material, the
Oh, yeah.
Blood, Sweat and Bond and the Anderson and Lowe books and everything else. I thought, well, just get it out and display. So yeah,
Love
I
it.
mean, your collection, David, sidetrack again, but your collection is mind blowing. I mean,
Thank you.
so awesome. Yeah,
Well, when
beyond
you come to the States, you'll have to visit it.
I would absolutely love that. Yeah, no, it would be like going and seeing the Holy Grail, like the end of Indiana Jones when they take the Ark of the Covenant down into the warehouse, and there's all those collections. It would be like hallowed ground. Yeah. No, thank you.
I think that's how Danielle thinks of it too. Just
Okay.
like the Indiana Jones warehouse.
Does she ask you if she can come down into your inner sanctum?
No,
Or,
no. It's funny. It's not like we hang out there. She knows that's kind of my space, and everybody's got their space.
Yeah. No, that's fair enough. So I think I'm nearly kind of at the end of the questions. So right.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah. Shall we
Just
start?
because
Up?
I'm thinking.
Do you want to do
Go
it
ahead.
on the record or off the record? Is this just general?
Oh no, this is all on the record. You don't have to cut any of this.
Oh, okay, all right, okay. I was going to cut that middle part out.
It's like two guys got together on a Zoom on a Saturday morning, and your viewers are eavesdropping. That's all.
Fair enough.
They're invited into it. Listen,
I will
I'm
drink
all
to
about.
that.
Yeah, drink your coffee. I'm drinking my my morning water in a highly
Gotta get me
branded.
one of them. Yeah.
Oh, they're amazing. So my question is, now that I said that about your display, one of the things that I absolutely love, to the point where I have it displayed in my bedroom, the box that came with it. We've got to talk about the display, because you and I are all into the pomp and circumstance. But when you first got that, what did you think of the display in the box?
Well, I'll be honest, I didn't see in the promotional photos that we saw for the release of the watch. Again, actually, it was my best friend who borrowed the watch for that pitch. He sent me a link. He'd been looking at some men's fashion GQ or something, and he sent me a link to the article where they had the first promotional pictures of the watch, and that's how I got the first view of it. So again, I kind of, I have to trust him with the watch, because that's part of the reason I bought it. But anyway, I didn't see the box until I actually went into the store. So if I talk about my own purchasing experience, when I knew that the watch was going to be limited edition to 7,007 pieces, I had in my mind it would be quite cool to get a limited edition number that was the year of my birth. So I got in contact with Omega out in Switzerland, and they put me in touch with the Regent Street store here in London. Long story short, that number had already been sold, but they sent me a list of numbers that they did have, and they had a rather low number, 393. So I thought, well, that's quite cool. It's the same backwards as it is forwards, so I'll go for that. So I went down, and when I saw this in the store and they presented the watch with the case, I was blown away. I mean, yes, you could argue it might be gimmicky to have like the 007 combination, but then of course there was going to be a 007 combination. Why wouldn't you? Yeah. But it's, I think, the nicest display case I've got for any of my watches, and I own 5 Omegas. I'm very fortunate to own 5. Wow. But I think it's the nicest display case. And if I can kind of end that thought with the No Time to Die, how did you feel that was presented in the travel pouch? You know,
Oh,
considering it's double the money pretty much what we paid for the Spectre watch. What were your thoughts on that?
oh, Mark, I have so much egg in my face, but I'm happy to talk about this. So I do love that case. It is actually the only case I have displayed in my bedroom. So I have a lot of my watches out, so I
Yeah,
can choose for the day and have them out. I don't like to put my watches into cases, stick them in the closet, or stick them in drawers. They're all out.
yeah.
This is the one that has this like almost like haloed light hitting it. And it's just gorgeous to look at every day. It's clean, it's slick, all the reasons that you said. So when I started to see the ads and the details for the No Time to Die, and I saw the pouch, I thought, oh, cool. They give you like a travel pouch in addition to this amazing case I'm sure they're going to have. Okay. So then step two, I find out there is no box. There's no case. It's just this case. So then I'm like, oh, I see what they're doing. There's going to have some sort of significance in the film. And they were like, yeah, $10,000, we're going to give you a case, but no, wait till you see, because this is like a Bond thing. This is like something that Bond actually uses. And so then step four, I hear a rumor from a very good source, actually, that in the film, he does use this to hold maps, like when he's traveling and going from
Okay.
place to place. And so I'm like, this is going to be great, waterproof, EMP proof. When we found out about that, it makes all the sense in the world to have maps. And of course, nothing. So I will say this. I went out and I got a basic Omega box. I think they call it the yacht box because
Okay.
it looks like a wooden boat, like one of those fancy, nice wooden boats that you've seen out there. It looks like Bond's boat. So I put mine in that wooden yacht case because I think it looks beautiful and it looks like it could be of the movie. But that being said, I am disappointed that they don't have a case, and not just for the price, but because all my other ones have a case. And this is the one that has some sort of like piece of luggage. I don't know. How do you feel?
I completely agree. I thought there would perhaps be a bit more to it. Obviously, when again, I was in the Regent Street boutique when I picked up my No Time to Die, and obviously they you get it in the brown cardboard box, like the shipping box, and
Yeah.
you open it up, and I thought, okay, there's going to be a wooden box inside, but it was a black cardboard, and you open it. I've done an unboxing video on it on my channel, which people can check out if they wish. But I, I like the travel pouch. Don't get me wrong. I think it would be really handy if not that if I was traveling with a watch, I'd be wearing it. I wouldn't necessarily have it in a pouch, but
Right.
it would have been nice if they'd continued the tradition as they did with the Spectre display, because I think it's beautiful. I mean, obviously we've got the Spectre and the 007 logo in the lid there. I think we really lucked out with the design of this case.
Yeah, I totally agree. And by the way, I mean, I actually really like the people at Omega. I've talked to them about the case and things like that. It was a very conscious move on their part to do something different, which I do like. And I do know that the case also has that Daniel Craig pre-planning suggestion moment. So I think he
Right.
probably wanted something a little bit more to that ilk that what we got. And it doesn't diminish the watch. I mean, the watch is
No,
the star, just like this watch is the star, which, by the way, begs, if you don't mind me asking another question.
go for it. Please do.
All right.
Please do.
So we're doing a very quid pro quo discussion here. So let's play a little bit of a game that I wanted to play with you.
Okay.
So, and God forbid this ever happened. This is never going to happen. It's a total terrible fantasy.
Okay.
So you're going down the street. You're going to, I don't know, meet Pete Brooker for a pint or something. Go to Burlington Arcade for an event, whatever you do.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, some thug comes up to you. And sure enough, just by chance, you had your Spectre watch on one wrist and your No Time to Die watch on the other wrist. And the thug goes, I'm going to be generous today. I only want one of those watches. Give me the watch. Which watch do you part with?
Oh, that's like asking which kidney do I want to give up. Oh,
You didn't think I was going to pepper you today.
no, I didn't. I wasn't expecting this level of violence, David, from questions. Oh, that is,
I mean,
people
one's
have
an
asked.
investment. I know this is worth a crazy amount of money right now. I get that.
Yeah, if I was thinking financially, I would say take the No Time to Die because I'll probably, the Spectre watch is pretty much, there at that same price. If I, that's such a horrible question, David. How could
So
you?
happy. I'm so
Um,
happy.
yeah, you like seeing people squirm with tough decisions like that. Then,
I think it's good that we stretch ourselves. I mean,
yeah,
it's a scenario that'll never happen, but
I would
sounds
say
like
probably. I'd
you
say
give
probably
this up.
the yeah, I would say the No Time to Die. I mean, this was my first fully fledged
Yeah.
Bond watch. It's limited edition, as we said. They sold out within months. Can't get them for love nor money now. Well, you can get them for money, but you have to pay a lot of
Oh,
money. That's one thing I found amazing. Like within 3 months of getting this in September 2015,
yep.
it doubled in value. I looked on
Yes.
secondhand watch websites. It doubled in value, and it stayed there consistently.
Yeah.
Um,
Even ones that are worn are crazy.
oh,
And by the way,
absolutely.
to make you feel somewhat better
Go
after
on.
that terrible question, I would do the same. And I'll tell you what it is I certainly wear this more nowadays. I really enjoy it, absolutely adore it like you, and really adore yours. That being said, this to me has that sentimental aspect of the story I just told you with Danielle, the premiere,
Absolutely.
the travel, in addition to the fact that if I had to, if I could beg and plead, I could get another one of these.
Yes.
Um, this, best of luck.
Yeah. No, totally agree. Totally agree.
So I think
Well,
you chose wisely, Indiana
thank
Jones.
you. Thank you. I was going to say he chose wisely.
You
Uh,
chose wisely.
yeah. We'll come start wrapping up because I don't want to take too much of your time. But I'm going to play a clip and then we'll have a quick, very brief discussion on your thoughts
Sure.
on what you felt with regards how the watch was used in Spectre.
I said.
So, I mean, I've cut that down to be the shots where it's on screen the most, obviously, but who would have thought that the watch would have such a pivotal role in crafting the look of Blofeld that we've come to expect and know and love since, You Only Live Twice, when Donald Pleasant swung round in his chair, not dissimilar to your own chair today that you're sat in, actually. But what did you feel about the use of the watch in the film?
It's a waste of a good watch. I was trying to do a Skyfall quote. No, but I loved it. I mean, I think it harkens back to what I love about the older, more vintagey movies of, Bond gets something from Q, Bond uses the Q gadget during a moment just like that. So I thought it was perfect. I thought the quote, the smugness of it, the Tempest Fugit, all that stuff, time flies. Blofeld looking down, there was a great moment. And like you said, I didn't even think about this. That watch serves the purpose of giving us the visage of Blofeld that we know so well. So I couldn't think of a better way to execute it.
Yeah, it's great to see a watch having a gadgety purpose like that again, because it was the first one from the Craig era that we had. So that was lovely. We'll wrap things up, but I've got one final question for you, and I've been trying to think how to put this. So I hope this will make sense. So please bear with me. But
Sure.
when you look at the film, Spectre itself as the film, you've got the watch. Obviously, you got the watch before you saw the film. So you have the anticipation that builds up around that. The same actually with No Time to Die watch as well. So, but we'll maybe cover that in a different video down the road.
Sure.
Does the quality of, or your connection to the watch, is that diminished at all by the quality of the film? Because some could argue, and some have argued, in terms of the rankings of the likes of Spectre or No Time to Die, some people really don't like the film. But if you've already bought the watch for the film, does that detract? If you understand what I mean?
I understand completely. I think it's a really unique, the opposite of cliche question. Really good. So I want to give it some thought. I mean, my quick answer is no. So couple of reasons. I think I've grown to be able to separate clothing, shoes, jackets, coats, watches from the movies. So for example, I'll still wear things from movies I was like, it's okay. But I still adore the pieces of accessories and wardrobe because they're fantastic polos, or they're fantastic shoes, or fantastic hat. It's the same with the watch. I mean, No Time to Die, I've been pretty vocal. I wasn't crazy about the ending. I wanted a, swagger type ending. And I thought Safin, maybe not the greatest bad guy in the world, but I did love, I really do like the movie a lot. But I didn't love this any less because it wasn't the movie that I was expecting. This to me, because when you get a watch like this, or you get a watch like this, you grow to appreciate the item almost separately from the movie. You can do that separation. And I think that's the enjoyment of it, is not seeing it as a Bond watch. That's why you bought it. But you actually see it as David's watch, Mark's watch. It's my watch. And so you get almost like, a defensive, protecting, type of attitude about it. So no, neither watch, I will say, was diminished in any way.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think as well, I've said on a few videos previously, it's, whether it's buying a polo shirt from Oliver Brown, or the Tom Ford shirt, or a watch or shoes, or whatever the item may be. It's, for me, it's not about being James Bond or pretending. It's that, as your channel description highlights, it's the experience of, owning these items, and the lifestyle, and the, connection with using what we see in a Bond film as kind of a template, or a sartorial template, to say, okay, well, I could take that element. I like that shirt. Don't like those trousers or the shoes, but I'll take the shirt, or I like that watch with this, it's mix and match. I think that's what, so much with a watch you can wear, as we've said already, you can wear it with so many different outfits, but it doesn't take away the quality of a film. And I completely agree. I think we have very similar views on No Time to Die, but we'll leave that for another time. David, I want to thank you so much for coming on to talk to us today, talk to me today, and be a part of this video. It's been an absolute joy to have you on. I could sit here, as I say, and talk to you for hours, but I want to let you get on with your day. I know it's early in the morning there still, but thank you very much for joining us, and yeah, thank you.
Mark, it was my pleasure. I'm sure we'll be doing one of these again in the future very soon.
I do hope so. David, have a great day.
Thank you.
So that's it. A massive thank you to David once again for taking part in this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please do give the video a thumbs up. If you haven't already, consider subscribing and hitting the bell notification button so you get a notice when I post something new. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this video and also this watch, so do leave them in the comments section below. But until the next time, stay safe, stay healthy, stay well, and I'll talk to you all very soon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.